Today is Bryce and Ronnie Avalanche Safety Day. January 5th is the sad anniversary of the death of two U.S. ski team skiers in an avalanche. And today marks the opportunity to help spread awareness and education to prevent tragedies such as that one. Here to tell us more about what's happening today and how you can participate and be educated is Tom Kelly. Tom, we're so appreciative that you're here with us.
Well, good morning, Christine. Great to be here. And even though I'm not in the studio with you, it's good to be back on the air at Park City Television.
It is great to see you and connect through the screen. We miss having you in studio, absolutely. But today is an important day and a very tragic day. Tell me a little bit more about the accident that happened.
Well, this is one of those days that for me and for many others, particularly the families of Bryce Astle and Ronnie Burlak, will be one that we'll remember every year. And we'll remember it in a sad way for the tragic avalanche that occurred in Solden, Austria 6 years ago today. But we'll also remember it as a day that we can help to create awareness. So this is something that doesn't happen to another generation. I think as I look back on this accident, and many others do as well, it's the simple things, really, really simple things that could have saved their lives that day. They were with a U.S. ski team training camp in Solden, Austria. They had just arrived in town and there was a massive dump of snow the day before. It was a Bluebird day on January 5th. It was a Monday that year. They couldn't train gates, so they just went out skiing and they found this great track off the groomers. They followed a group of skiers down there, and it was a group of half a dozen or so U.S. ski team athletes, and all of a sudden the mountain slid and 3,500 tons of snow buried Bryce and Ronnie and took their lives. So simple things that they just didn't know got them in trouble.
And now this Brass Foundation was created because of this tragedy as a way to educate and help others and prevent something like this happening once again. We are just showing a film that was produced to help spread this education. So tell me a little bit more about Brass Foundation, about this film as well.
Well, Brass Foundation was formed about a year or two after the accident to really create a greater awareness and education, particularly for competitive winter snow sports athletes. And I think what's gratifying now for those who've been involved with Brass is we're starting to see the impact that it's having. You can see it now at the club level. There's a greater awareness of avalanche safety. More people are taking classes. Interest in our Brass 101 classes is at an all-time high. And we just want to introduce people to the concept of the dangers and the simple things that they can do, simple steps they can take to avoid getting into danger. Things like making sure you know the avalanche forecast. Don't venture off the groomed trails unless you really have a plan, that you're well equipped, that you've got the gear. The boys had none of that day, and it took their lives. So we want to make sure it doesn't happen again.
And this film is powerful. It's shown as a way to educate many individuals. It was produced in November of 2018 with Utah Avalanche Center. It's heartbreaking, this film. It really goes into what happened that day, the accident, the effect the parents are spoken to. Also, it shows video from their childhood. And while the point is to be a tragic commentary on what happened, it's more importantly an opportunity to educate.
Well, that was the main impetus behind it. The families wanted to create something that would have great impact, that would be evergreen and stand the test of time. And this film is an amazing reminder. It's been seen by over 1 million people worldwide since its release just a little bit over 2 years ago. It was produced for the Brass Foundation by the Utah Avalanche Center. Tonight, we will have director Trent Meisenheimer, who was one of the geniuses behind this film and putting together a recreation of the accident that was done in the Cottonwood Canyons here and interspersing it with commentary from marquee athletes like Mikaela Shiffrin, Ted Ligety of Park City, Stephen Nyman of Sundance, and others to give the message of the key points that that skiers and snowboarders need to follow to be safe when they venture off of groomed trails. Tonight, we will be showing that. We'll be spending an evening with Off Piste. It begins at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, a 1-hour program. It will include an interview with Ted Ligety from his training camp in Europe right now, a panel of avalanche experts, including the film's producer and director, Trent Meisenheimer, Bruce Tremper, former director of the Utah Avalanche Center, who wrote the accident report on this tragedy. So they'll be gathered tonight at between 6 and 7 p.m. You can register now. It's free. Just go to brassavalanche.org and you can register and get a Zoom link to participate in tonight's webinar.
And today is the first ever Bryce and Ronnie Avalanche Safety Day, hoping to be an annual event to spread awareness and education. So tell me a little bit more about this annual day happening once again, and also about Brass's educational initiatives.
Well, days like this, whether it's a national whatever day or a Bryce and Ronnie Bryce and Ronnie Avalanche Safety Day, serves as a reminder. We wanted to create this day so that every year, not just those of us involved with it, but all of skiers and snowboarders around the country and around the world would use this as an occasion to think about avalanche safety. What can you do on this day? You can sign up for an avalanche safety class with the Utah Avalanche Center. You could go to the Know Before You Go website at kbyg.org and take an online class. You can go to brassavalanche.org and see the opportunities that you have there. We put on a series of Brass 101 online workshops, and while we don't have any more scheduled this year, we have all of the videos there. So you can go and spend 90 minutes and watch an avalanche education program. There's many ways to take advantage of this day. We also ask people to come by brassavalanche.org and click the donate button and provide some support to Brass Avalanche for the work that it's doing.
And Tom, I know that this tragedy affected you quite deeply within your career and the job that you were doing back on that day. What is your hope that people will walk away with after participating in this Avalanche Safety Day?
I look at it as really simple things. It's just simply knowing that when you venture off groomed trails, it's a different environment, that you can't go out the gate at the top of 99.90 unless you're fully equipped, you know the forecast, you're with a partner. You just can't do those things. And it's so enticing here in the Wasatch. There's so many opportunities we have to just get off the groomed trails and get into the deep powder, which I know is coming this year, don't worry, but you just have to think about those very simple things. You can study snow science and you can take more in-depth training, but if you know those very simple rules, these 5 steps that you need to follow when you go into the backcountry and venture off groomed trails, that will help to keep you safe. If Bryce and Ronnie and their teammates had those things at their fingertips 6 years ago, they would still be here today. So just think of the simple things to keep yourself safe and all of those around you safe when you venture off the groomed trails.
Such an important message on this tough day. Thank you so much, Tom Kelly, for joining us. You can find out more about how Bryce and Ronnie Avalanche Safety Day is being celebrated in a way that spreads education to honor these two boys online at brassavalanche.org. Also, be sure if you're heading out to the backcountry to be safe, know before you go. Head to utahavalanchecenter.org for up-to-date avalanche conditions. It's changing as we speak because of the snowfall. So again, make sure that you are safe and ready for the backcountry and anything else. Thanks to Tom Kelly for being here with us on this important day. Back with more Habitat for Humanity will be joining us up next. Stay with us.